Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our daily gun show. We come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern. For about an hour, we talk about guns. And we got a bunch of links out there tonight. We usually have a panel discussion. Got one person jumped in. Thanks for joining Cycle Camp.
Hi there. Thanks for the invite. And before I forget, hey, hope John Z had a good birthday yesterday.
Oh, was it yesterday?
Well, it's still his birthday where you are.
Right on. So what, he's about 24 now?
Yeah, in dog years, I think.
I'm trying to figure out what the hell that noise is. If it's a new drip. A little distracted by a drip. It's raining here, and I got leaks. But, yeah, I was saying we got a bunch of links out there. Lover's chat just ended. They're in there chatting it up off air, but everybody's going to bed. We try to have a panel discussion, though, so there's a bunch of links out on the Gun Channel side, and we'll either have a long show or short show. Normally on Thursdays, we talk about CCW or training. Not my favorite topics always, but Dano's not here. I don't know if you have any topics for the whole burden on Cycle Camp.
Yeah, I know. Jeez. I'll tell you, I have a really tough time this time of year because I'm cheap and I don't want to pay for an indoor range, but my outdoor range is not accessible. You know, it's at the end of a dirt road and it's at the confluence of two rivers and it's in a floodplain. And with all the rain and sleet and snow we've had the last few days, it's very difficult to get out there with I don't have any four-wheel drive vehicles to get out there with. My brother-in-law can get out there with his truck. And, you know, I've seriously been considering some of the stuff that I saw at the last Tulsa show. You know, they had the indoor, you know, where you put the little laser light adapter in the gun and, you know, you can run it off of either a PC or a really good smartphone or that kind of thing. And something like that, you know, just to practice being steady and not twitching the gun with the trigger. You know, I'm also too cheap to waste pennies on that. So I you know, I don't know if anybody in the audience has had any experience with any of those. If they, you know, are they? I mean, is it like a Nintendo and you just don't think it's worth it, or have you actually tried it? The one that I looked at Tulsa, it looked a little sloppy from the splash of light point of view, you know, and it didn't, you know, being a bullseye shooter, you know, I like mine to be, you know, right and tight.
As far as like using a real bullet or something, I guess a laser bullet in a real gun, I haven't used anything like that yet. I've used the ones that are fake laser guns with targets that can see the laser that hits them. And they're, I don't know, they're like the big crayons, you know, they're definitely not super accurate like you're saying. I mean, they're accurate-ish for across the room type of work, and they'll get to the, you know, finger distance, but they're not dead on accurate. But they're interesting, I guess, for, I don't know, I guess like a entertaining / constructive pastime. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't care if they're accurate as long as they're precise.
Like consistent?
Yeah, that if you hit the, you know, if you could put one right on top of the other, right on top of the other, even if it's not really accurate, you know you're not moving because you're hitting that same spot every single time. You know, accuracy versus precision, you know. Precise as it goes exactly the same place every time. Accuracy as it goes where you wanted it to go.
Are those fairly expensive, Cycle, or are they fairly cheap, or what's the price range for that thing?
Oh, it's all over the place depending on what you want to get. And I think the ones we were looking at in Tulsa were, oh God, I gotta say around the $1.50 range, maybe.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I did a video on them. I don't. It's so bad. I don't even remember. I mean, that was November, right? That was 2 whole months ago. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty reasonable. I mean, it wouldn't take very long to spend $150 in range time.
No, not at all.
So it might be worth doing, and it's something you could do at home while you're like now sitting in my easy chair. I think my longest shot here in this room is about 28 feet, right in there someplace. If I hung a target up on the opposite side of the room.
I like what Jiwa just said. It would be fun and also valuable, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's valuable if you're sitting in your easy chair, but it's constructive at least. I mean, at least you're obtaining skill, but I don't know how.
Yeah, I wouldn't be trying to practice like, pull the gun out of the holster, that kind of thing. I'm really more looking for trigger control. That my biggest problem is trigger control, and not twitching the gun left or right or up and down when I pull it.
See, the ones I've used are fake, right? They're toys. They're well made, but they're about as like a paintball gun maybe, or like a BB gun. They're not like a fine trigger, and they're certainly not like a combat trigger or like a precision trigger or anything like that.
Oh, no, the one that I was looking at, you use your own gun.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Using your own gun, at least you'd have that, whatever, familiarization.
And there's like
that level.
Yeah, there's like a laser cartridgey kind of thing you stick in there and do that. So that seemed like a pretty good way to do it. Because yeah, you want something where you're using your own trigger, where you get your own break and take up and all that stuff. Like, granted, you don't get they do make them where they have the units in them that shake the gun or whatever to try to give you the impression of recoil. But now you're talking big bucks when you get one of those.
So Pants linked to this one on the gun channel side. Laser activated shot reporter. And then it's $120, he said, and then you buy a laser bullet, like you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's using it with a fake gun, but right, because the gun's all red.
Yeah. That looked like one of them CERT guns or whatever they are.
Yeah.
That
actually looks like the one I think that looks like the one I saw in Tulsa with the classic versus the higher level one. And you did have to buy it was one of those where depending on what caliber you wanted, you might have to get adapters.
Well, you have to buy the one that's correct for the whatever gun you're carrying or using.
Yeah.
So then it keeps showing a target and then another target and another target. Is that what most of what you're shooting at are? Yeah,
multiple targets, and basically you program, you use
these are real targets in full scale on your wall somewhere.
Right, and what you do is you point a camera through the PC, you point a camera at it, and you tell the camera where the targets are, and then the camera records the hits.
Wow, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, so it's basically a camera unit, and it's just it's nothing special, and you can stick it right on top of a regular tripod or whatever, and then the rest of it is really just the light module that goes in the gun. And then there's a piece of computer software, and that's where you get the classic versus the not classic. There's a piece of computer software. And one of the other things I liked about it was you can get it to call the shot, and it'll tell you what to shoot, and you have to shoot it. And it has a shot timer in it and all that kind of crap. I mean, it's pretty neat. I'm just not sure how much you'd have to, like you said, I think the base was like, around around 100.5, and then what else do you have to add to it?
Like if you have to buy the gun from like the laser gun there in the middle of the screen.
Yeah, but they said you could do that, or you could get something that goes inside your own gun.
Yeah.
Which is, I think personally, I think that's a better way to do it for the reason that G-Webs was talking about. If you're going to train with your own trigger.
Absolutely.
And that would work out well for me because I use a car, and because it's really a double action every time. In order to reset it, I only got to move it about, an eighth of an inch or quarter of an inch, and it's reset. I don't have to rack the whole thing all the way back in order to pick up the striker.
So dumb question time. You can't use revolvers with this kind of thing?
Well, sure you can. I believe you can. I don't see any reason why not.
Oh yeah, there's the 44. Okay.
Yeah, $20.
And that thing will have the cartridge. It's kind of like a laser bore sighter. Have you ever used a laser bore sighter that's built into a bullet?
Yes. So yeah, it's
kind of like that. Yeah.
That's
so
a
it's got,
adapter. So it's a $20 adapter. So you got to buy the 9mm laser and then put it in that 44 mag adapter.
Yeah.
So it's going to cost you a couple of bucks.
But no 357 here anyway.
Yeah. That's what they're saying. You can buy all these different adapters to make it.
9mm 357 probably use the same one.
Oh yeah.
It's just a different shaped thing to fit into the cartridge.
So it's all based on the case head, right?
Yeah, there.
It's right there, just so it fits in the chamber. You're gonna have to buy 5 of them or 6 of them if you got a revolver, I guess. So that's
or you'd have to bring it around all the time, yeah.
Well, then that's not effective. Yeah, you'd have to have one in each one. Otherwise, yeah, you'd have to be constantly fiddling with it. So this.
Well, you got to do the same thing with a semi-automatic, because you've got to slightly rack it in order to reset it one way or the other.
Yeah. So Clover talked about a mag that you can put into like a Glock, and it'll do that. It'll accomplish what your double action only or whatever is, where it'll read the Glock, or I mean the magazine, training magazine, goes in there and pushes on the thing and gives attention, so it resets it for you. Or you get one of these cert guns. That's what they're all about. Is that they reset the trigger for you.
Yeah, yeah,
and
that's what they were using when we were at the show. They were using the cert guns, and it was pretty slick.
All right, so here's the thing. So these things, I guess if they're a camera that's looking at a regular target, and then there's a little laser that hits the target. Like you said, there's going to be some splash, and there's going to be the camera visually. There's all this room here, so there's all this potential for audio or for optical noise, and then what you're looking at is what you can put in front of you. And I don't know what the issue is with this thing being able to interpret. So if you use a target, no problem. But if you put a shirt on a hanger out there, against a door, is it going to be able to acknowledge that shirt as the target? And if so, I don't know what it does. But this is, a modern kit or whatever. I'm going to contrast that with a kit or a thing I saw. It was in the sand, so it had to be within the last 9 years, but it was a long time ago. And that kit was $1,000. And what was cool about that kit was it was similar. You had to have either a laser thing with a gun that could reset its trigger, or some kind of a laser gun, right? So same issue. You have to be able to continually make the laser shoot a dot. But what that thing did, it was you needed a projector, and it would you had to have a projector, project a video onto a wall. And then I guess that would be the difference here, is that you would be under the constraints of where you could put a projector, so the light levels and the size of the room and everything. But what you could do, and this was for $1,000, is you could go take whatever camera you wanted, And let's say you were in a gun shop, you could film your gun shop. You could film the what do you call it, like the parking lot of where you work. You could film your own front door or something, or your own kitchen door, or like, you know, your any situation, any scenario you wanted. You could just film your own video, put that video into the software, and then you were in a shoot house basically with whatever video you just created. You could do the same with images. And then it was similar where you would just shoot into space, basically into the projected video, but then the same type of camera system saw where those hits were. And I'm assuming you would have to map out or something, or maybe it was just playback. I really didn't see, because I didn't pay that much attention, because it was $1,000 and I didn't have $1,000. But that was $1,000 like, you know, years ago. So I'm wondering if that kind of system is down to this $120 level, because that's, I think, would be a little bit more appealing to me, is being able to set up your own scenarios and do your own little shoot scenarios, walkthroughs.
Yeah, Pants put a bunch of, he was looking a little closer at the laser app, and he put a bunch of stuff in the gun channels chat. He said, so it's $120. That's the base for the software. And then you got to drop whatever it costs for the gun or the cartridge. And the webcam tracks the laser, which we already knew. But he said you can also put parameters of the targets, and you can actually put like multiple zones on one target. So you could have a like high left, low corner, right corner, that kind of thing. Probably
hostages, and no shoots, and that kind of stuff too.
Oh yeah, no shoot zones. That makes sense. Yeah. But that seemed like a pretty reasonable price for an, you know, I mean, I look at this as more like an entry level at home kind of system, and it seemed like a pretty reasonable price. Maybe they'll be back. Maybe they'll be back in April. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'd definitely be interested in that. That sounds really cool. So what, two bills, and you're probably pretty good to go.
Yeah, and I don't think you had to use a special camera. I think whatever webcam you had hanging around, I was pretty sure I asked the girl that question when I did a quick like 4 or 5 minute video with them, and she said, no, whatever webcam you got, it's the software that does the work.
So Obnoxious is saying, are we ignoring the English at the bottom, where it goes, want to shoot more better?
I actually noticed that as a teacher. I was like, oh no.
Well, maybe they're just missing a comma. Shoot more, comma, better.
Those blasted commas that get you every time.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because everything else seems like real English.
Yeah. So that was my thought about the training, being trapped indoors. I mean, you could barely walk outside my house. The ice is so slippery. I had to put salt down today just to be able to get to the driveway.
Yeah, that would have been fun last week here, where we had more snow than we've had since 1923.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. And we're Seattle. We're not good at that. Snowy stuff. So that would have been great to just hang out in my garage and do that for a bit. G, do you think that the software you were looking at before, since it was years ago, do you think that like they're just a lot better, that's why it's so much cheaper? Or do you think there's another version of what you were talking about somewhere out there?
I don't think there's the same stuff at all. I'm just saying, I'm assuming that stuff that used to cost $1,000 must be similar to this now. The reason it still costs $1,000.
Yeah. Well, the downfall on most of these is it's the mechanism in the gun. That seems to be the weak point of all of these guys. Software is software, and webcam tracking a dot of light is not that big a deal. I mean, we've been doing that frickin' forever. I mean, like Duck Hunt, on a Nintendo, even that guy knew how to do that. So that wasn't tough to do.
That stupid dog that make fun of you.
Yes, yes. Well, that was actually go backwards, because the way that worked was you had the gun had the sensor in it, and when you pointed at the right part of the screen, it was the way the the pixels on the screen were modulated. It caused the gun to pick it up. So it was actually the screen projecting back into the gun as opposed to the gun projecting onto the screen. That's how those old games worked.
That's interesting to know.
Yeah. Now you know, do with the shooting star and all that shit.
It looks like a lot of the feature of this thing is that it'll score and everything too. So it's not just.
Yeah, and it can keep. You can save your results and see if you're improving and shit like that.
And that's where, even if it's not perfect or if it doesn't emulate, 100% of real life, if you can compete against yourself, then it's effective as a training tool, right? Because even though it's an artificial environment, you're able to track your progress and do things to speed up your draw or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I said, with the shot timers and stuff, getting that first shot off and getting it in the right place and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you're still building muscle memory no matter, like I said, better to do it with your own firearm, but, anything's an improvement.
If I remember right, didn't Ghost do a video on one there where you kind of shoot at your phone kind of thing? There was an app on their phone and you shoot at the phone, or am I just kind of making something up here?
I don't remember if you shot at the phone or if you used the phone's camera and then the app still ran on the phone. That one I don't remember.
Using the phone's camera, I can't imagine shooting at your phone. That makes no sense.
Yeah, because the only thing you'd be able to shoot at would be the actual camera anyway. So I would assume you're probably using the phone's camera to see where the shots are hitting.
Yeah, or maybe there was a little target thing that you shot at, and then your phone read that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that your phone is you're using the camera on the phone like a webcam. It's like the whole little computer dealy. Which might make it a little easier. I mean, if you're using a laptop and you got to run cables to your webcam and all that kind of crap, I don't know if did they make like Bluetooth webcams and stuff like that? I don't know. I know they make regular cameras, but I don't know how fast they are.
Wi-Fi, yes. I don't know if Bluetooth is fast enough though.
Yeah.
What camera would work better, the phone camera or a laptop camera?
Probably the same.
I would generally agree. I think that the cameras in a phone are probably just as good. The only difference is some webcams have that autofocus happy horse shit, and that's mechanical, and so they might be a little easier to set up.
That makes sense.
But a webcam is going to be kind of focused on a couple of 3 feet focal plane, right? They're not really designed to look down a ways, where a phone is going to look down a ways, or like the cameras that they sell with their software are probably more like just a pinhole camera.
Yeah, I think you have to set the webcam up fairly close to the targets.
And I had a thing a long time ago, long time ago. It was archaic, really, but it was a little tiny camera with a little screen that was maybe about the size of a phone nowadays, a big phone nowadays, and that screen had some kind of remote control in it, and the camera had a remote control, and then there was a little controller unit, and you had it in this little big Pelican box, and it had a little tripod for the camera, and you had to do that. You had to put the camera right in front of your target, way out there, really dangerously close, though, because, like you're saying, the camera had to be right there, and then it couldn't do any of this scoring or telling you where your shots were. It was just a camera, so it was just a look, a much closer look at your target, but you still had to identify your holes and all that. I think what it did is had like a piece of film over the screen, and you could with a wax pencil. It was pretty low tech, but You know, that was an attempt at this kind of stuff back in the day.
Yeah, Pants was saying if you use the one with the phone where the app ran on the phone, it'd be really annoying because it's a tiny screen and you have to move the phone. You have to go pick the phone up, look at it to see how you did and all that. And then, you know, if you don't put it back exactly right, the target parameters would get all screwed up and you have to reset everything. And I agree with them. I think that'd be a pain in the ass. But if it's a USB connected webcam, you can extend those to some extent. You know, get it out, you know, 10 or 12 feet at least. But that's something else to think about, though. How far away can you get?
I don't like being confined to what already exists. So the ideal shooting companion computer. So the ideal shooter's computer, what would it be and what could it do? What would it be able to do for you? Like going to the range or doing stuff at home? Anything?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd like hook it up to a spotting scope and then be able to, you know, either use it freestanding or tie it in. You know, they have those scopes now. Because what's his name used to do that all the time, right? Dog, the dog used to do that, Dog Body, and he actually could take pictures right through his scope, and you could actually watch him sight in on a target and do all that kind of stuff. I think something like that would be. I don't know how you would do that unless you used like an RMR attachment or something. I'm not sure how you would do that with a handgun.
What about like some of those computer programs they use for sports where they track every little bit of, you know, your stance or where your elbows are or something like that without having to, you know, put a bunch of golf balls on you or something like that? 'Cause since we're talking about computers that don't exist now, I think that would be super helpful. You could watch yourself shoot and the computer can think you a little bit.
DB Cooper took a class like that. They already have that for golfers because they worry about that kind of stuff, and tennis players. They already have that kind of stuff for their coaches.
Baseball uses it all the time.
There's a guy in like Florida or something that applies that to shooting. DB Cooper took his class many years ago now.
Yep. Pants was asking about the ones that have the training scenario movies the cops use and some ranges have. I have a friend who just put together a one of those in his he's a firearms dealer, and he decided to branch out and he wanted to be able to do training and stuff, and that system cost him over 20 grand. It was about I want to say it was about 140 degrees of screen, you know, and all that. But it was not cheap to put that in. But he had the one that had the SIRT guns with the CO2 cartridges in them. So when you pulled the trigger, it kicked the gun back and all that. I mean, it was really slick. Yeah, not something I'll be doing at home anytime soon. That would put a severe crimp in my gun collection monies.
I don't know how many years ago now. It seems like maybe 2009 and 10. It was 8, 9, and 10 maybe. There was like a real big. That must have been the time when it was all developed, and I can remember that stuff being a big thing at SHOT Show. They would take like extra rooms, like the auxiliary rooms or whatever, and set up elaborate scenario room things like that for both military, law enforcement, and then gun shops, really. And like we're seeing it now, where gun shops have put those kind of systems in of various like levels of complexity or whatever. We have a place in Phoenix called Modern Round that's like a bar and a cafe, more than a cafe, a bar and a restaurant, really. And then they do scenario-based laser gun type of training. So it's everything from like duck hunt, just playing games, to like you're actually in scenarios like CCW, fight, don't fight scenarios.
Now that's what I call a drinking game.
Yeah, and that's like
you're not using real firearms.
Yeah, exactly. There's no real firearms. It's not a range, but there's like bays. It kind of looks like maybe if you went to a place that was featuring darts, or like one of those places now that they throw axes at or something. So you have like these little bays and areas for people, and then yeah, you just go spend some time and shoot a bunch of times, and then drink or eat or whatever, and then leave. Anybody else heard of anything like that going on in other places in the country? I know some ranges have a place for that, but I don't know of any others that are like just that.
Yeah, I haven't heard any.
All right. So that was the training part. Do we have any CCW stuff?
No, I don't have anything to say about CCW that's not all tied in legislation. So
we got 13 people watching. We got 7 thumbs and 1 down. So I'm thinking that is people are giving us the obligatory view, but we're not really getting a lot of interaction. So we don't have to make it a marathon show. We've had some 2-hour shows the last couple of days. Got a bunch of dead air here. I see Ted's out there. I don't know if he wants to jump in or not, but I'm not really seeing him. It's hard to know on Gun Channel sometimes, because even though we can tell when people are green, doesn't necessarily mean they're green in here listening to us, right? They could just have jumped in for a second. So it's just like on Gun Channels, or it's just like on YouTube. If you don't say something out there, we don't know you're out there. If you don't thumb it up, then we don't know you just checked it out and kept going. Clint is saying he's got a local range with a good barbecue restaurant. I think that's an opportunity that I don't know why ranges aren't taking that up more often, taking that and using it, or doing it. It's a word I'm trying to come up with.
yeah, like a bowling alley.
Do that more often. Yeah, exactly. Like you can be a bowling alley, but if you're a bowling alley with a good restaurant, or at least like some unique snack bar or something, like you're going to be a more popular bowling alley, right?
Yep. Microbrewery / gun training place.
There was there's a place here, and I don't know if it's a chain or not, but it's you go there and you eat. It's just a restaurant. There's like a restaurant, whatever restaurant hours are. I think breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then they also fix hot rods, or like hot rod cars. So they like make them off, not just regular car repair, but like fancy car repair. Putting all fancy chrome shit on cars, or I don't know, putting fancy motors in them or whatever they do. So the restaurant is on one level, let's say, and the garage is like not quite a level down. Like you're definitely looking at the tops of the cars when you're eating. Look, and then there's like this big glass wall, and that glass wall would be like, you can see in and out from the garage. I don't think it's like a whole. It's not like you're on the second floor, but you know what I mean. You're raised, and I don't know, for whatever reason you're looking like at the top of the cars, and you don't see every little detail of what's going on, but you can certainly watch. I don't know, maybe try to remember now, maybe 10 bays or something. There's like a whole bunch of different cars being worked on, or in different stages of being worked on, while you're sitting there eating. And then the restaurant is completely separate. So except for those windows where you can see what's going on with the cars, you're just in a restaurant eating, and there's like a bar there, so there's TVs and stuff, and it's just music and stuff. So pretty much like a bowling alley or something, where you've got an area to eat at. And I don't know why shooting ranges don't do something like that, but I was going to say I think it'd be neat to have like a gunsmith thing like that, where people can watch, I don't know, maybe Cerakoting getting done, or guns being assembled, or I guess if you had enough gunsmith work to do gunsmithing.
Yeah, I would watch that.
Especially like manufacturing or assembly, because that's going to be going on fairly regularly. I've seen a thing at an airport too one time, where you could watch them do something at the airport, fix airplanes and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like if you go to the cheese factory in Tillamook, Oregon, you can watch them make cheese, and there's tons of people there.
Midnight Sam, there's a club that has a decent kitchen, but they don't use it much. Yeah, most of the time they're only using them for pancake breakfast or a spaghetti lunch or a barbecue once in a while, holiday thing or fundraiser.
Yeah, most of the gun ranges I've been to that have like a snack bar, it's just that. It's like, you can get a sandwich or, I mean, the options are pretty limited, and it's usually a volunteer thing too. So they're not exactly like, they're not midnight in there and really cooking really great food or anything.
Ozzy on Gun Channels wanted to know if anybody had recommendations on shot timers.
I don't buy them, so I go with people that have them, and I know ones that work better than others, but only what they look like. This little black one works good, and this one green one looks good, but I don't think I ever bought one.
Yeah. My brother-in-law actually went through, apps on the phone, and he had, some worked okay and some didn't work okay. It really depended on what you were using them for. So, I mean, the nice thing about them is they only cost a couple of dollars, so it's pretty cheap to try them out. I unfortunately I don't remember the one he ended up settling on. He did end up getting one, and we used it a few times at what do you call it, at a bowling pin shoot, where we weren't part of it, but we were just using the shot timer app just to see how well it reacted to that, and it seemed to work pretty well. So I would probably just go with one that has lots of stars in it on the Play Store or whatever.
I think most of them have worked pretty well that we've used. One of them was really big. That was its main problem, is it was too big to fit in people's pockets, but it worked fine. And then I'm trying to remember when people were still using, when we shot enough and we were still using those things, I think there were a couple of apps. And I think even back then people were starting to dig the apps. Because even if the apps couldn't do everything, a shot timer is just another thing with batteries that you got to carry around or forget that it's there and you roll over onto it. Or you forget, so it's just annoying to have one. So having it on a phone was appealing, if I remember right. But I think somebody was saying they couldn't hear it through their Ear Pro, and that might have been one of the issues they had. Or maybe I think it wasn't picking up every shot. I don't remember, but I imagine they're getting better all the time, though.
Well, typically when I see them in use, like when you watch Foos, right? Mm-hmm. It's the guy that's watching them that actually holds it, and he puts it right next to his head when it's going to go off, so that it's got a better chance of getting through there. And then, of course, he backs off and just lets it do its job. So, I mean, I don't think that's a function of the app. I agree with you. I think that's just because, hey, you're wearing ear protection, and if you don't have active audio ear protection where you can hear the small stuff, then you're not going to be able to hear that stuff. Oh.
Hey, Teddy.
Hey, how you doing?
Did you ever use any shot timers?
Now, which show am I on?
Daily Gun Show?
You're on the Daily Gun Show, okay.
Yeah, we were just talking about shot timers here for a bit.
So, Sex in the City. It's we're bringing it back.
I was going to try to come up with something funny, but I vaguely know that the show exists. I don't even know any joke from it at all. So, something about shoes, maybe?
No, the only joke is not really funny. Is the fact there's a lot of desperate women out there.
Well, that'd be more like Desperate Housewives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get their thrill through some show.
You'd have to make like some Mr. Big allusion for what do you call it? because that was the big deal with her and Big.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, that was one of my guilty pleasures when it was on. I used to watch that all the time.
That TV show?
Yep.
I only watched it because I have a wife.
I never watched it.
So getting back to guns.
Yeah.
Did they ever
And
did they ever talk about guns on that show?
no, not that I'm aware of.
The anti.
Yeah. I don't understand. What's an electronic can? Are you talking earmuffs? Pants?
Yeah, he means like electronic ear pro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really liked them. I got a very cheap shit set of earmuffs, but they were electronic earmuffs, and I was really amazed at how well they worked. I only paid like 18 or 20 bucks for them, and it really helped a lot because I have a hard time hearing range commands and stuff when I'm wearing headsets. I was pretty happy with those. But again, and that makes it easier to hear the shot timer because it's really quiet. And the shot timer doesn't kick over the hearing protection because it's not loud enough. But if you have a regular guy that's wearing, regular in the ear stuff or the roll ups or any of that kind of junk, like I couldn't do that with a rifle range because I can't wear earmuffs on a rifle range because of the way I get down on the gun, on the comb of the gun. It lifts the earmuff off all the time. So I just have to stick them in the ear hearing protection.
Yeah, sometimes they have like scallops on them, but it's all about everybody's interface is different, right? And in 6 guns will have 5 different interfaces.
Yeah.
So they're over there chatting about food, of course. Pancake is out there. He refuses to jump in, but he's out there instigating a bunch of food chatter. And that makes me wonder about ranges that have either like a barbecue pit, or almost every range I've ever been to has something like a barbecue pit or some kind of metal barbecuer, I guess, whatever you call like a thing to make hot dogs and hamburgers or whatever.
Yeah, grill. Yeah.
Grill, yeah. So that's the kind of thing like it's an opportunity. We go to the Big Sandy machine gun shoot here in Arizona, and that's like a little bit different because it's a multi-day event and it's remote, so there's people camping there. So because of that, they have the 4-H, I think, sets up sort of a tent / somebody pulls a big trailer in, basically as like a kitchen, and then a kind of indoor-outdoor kind of kitchen thing. They'll set it up under tarps if it's raining or something or dusty, but otherwise it's just kind of outside. They cook, whatever kind of foods you'd have it like in an outdoor type of thing, whatever Americana type of foods, barbecue, I guess, and cook foods on a barbecue. And then it's I think it's not like a donation. I think it's $5 or whatever, but it's fairly inexpensive and it's decent food, real, made food there, not just warmed up, actual made food. And then the kids are getting experience doing it. I don't know if anyone's ever done like one of those type of events as a kid, but there's all kinds of learning that gets done from the kids themselves, just learning how to do the food and then learning how to run the event and organize it, and learning what it's like to have to do something for a whole weekend or whatever. So I think there's some real value there, and I see it happen successfully twice a year at the Big Sandy shoot. That's something that if a gun range, even if they only did that once a month, I think that could catch on and be the kind of thing that brings more people to the range. If the kids set up like a 4-H or the scouts set up like a, I don't know, lunch and dinner or lunch and snacks type of thing. I'm trying to call it like a snack bar, I guess. And then
but my favorite gun range had a snack bar, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking that might be a way to get more people to come out to the range, because now it's like, well, I don't have to decide that or lunch. Now I can eat something out there that's worth eating.
Well, a couple of the guys in my club, when we used to do the bowling pin shoots, it would take 4.5 hours to get through everybody because everybody shot twice, you know. And a couple of guys said, "Hey, let's sell dogs and burgers and stuff, and we'll donate the money to the club." And that worked out really well because you used to have to bring your own lunch and crap, and now it was like, nah, just throw the guy a couple of bucks and have a dog or a burger, and the club benefits too. That worked out really well.
Yeah, exactly. And I would think that would be the kind of thing that would. There's people that'll eat just because it's in front of them, right, or just because it's there, and then there's all kinds of people that then can make that a easier decision because now they can just eat also while they're there.
Oh, well, speaking of eating it just because it's there, you get to guess what I have right next to me.
Popcorn with butter toffee on it.
Nope. Think about yesterday's chat.
No cones? What did we talk about yesterday?
I'll give you a hint. Ranch dressing.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, I'm eating a chicken bacon ranch pizza.
Nobody will ever sell me. Half the reason I quit eating stuff like that is because of chicken. I don't understand how people eat chicken.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, mine did not have the hot ranch, and it is very bland.
I can remember when dipping pizza in ranch even became a thing, because I can definitely remember the world before ranch had anything to do with pizza. Like, that would have been ridiculous to think ranch had anything to do with pizza for most of my life. I like to think most of my life, maybe about half of my life at this point. Huh?
Do you not like chicken?
No, hell no, not in any way, shape, or form.
And what about eggs?
Not really. I mean, I'll eat an omelet once in a while.
Because I'm just getting, when I moved, the new owners of the house, they wanted my chickens, my chicken coop. So the new chicken babies are just hatching, and I'm supposed to pick them up next week.
Hold on. So we haven't talked to you in a while. So you are moved or you're moving?
Yes, I bought some property in Winnemucca, Nevada.
Oh, you don't have to get into all the details. I mean, I think most people know your deal, but I'm saying just to catch up, you're already moving. I know you were waiting. You were staging there for a bit.
I got my well in. My septic will go in next month, and then because my RV is at an RV park right now, but I'm building on the property right now.
Okay, and then there was already stuff there?
Nope.
Okay, so I thought you said that somebody wanted your chicken coop. Are you saying you're taking theirs, or?
No. When I sold my house in Reno, Nevada.
Oh, okay.
Chicken coop. And when the owners bought the house, one of the contingencies of them buying the house was they wanted our chickens with the chicken coop. So I've had no chickens for 8 months, and I love fresh eggs. So this is the time of year that they're called poults. Okay, their baby chicks are just coming out, and so I have 8 baby chicks that I'll have under the sun lamp for the next month until they're able to be out on their own.
And then you just let them run around, do their thing.
Right. I'm building the new type of chicken coop is a portable chicken coop. It's like a sled, and you move it along the ground, and the chickens till the ground and eat all the bugs out of the ground and all the stuff. And it actually is a better way of fertilizing and tilling your land than using a tractor.
You're going to have grass on that land?
I will have putting down called cheated wheatgrass for the cattle to eat.
No, that'll be cool. That's a real symbiotic thing, right? The chickens go around, peck it, and aerate it, and
correct.
Poop all around, distribute it nice, and then they're eating decent shit, so they're pooping out good fertilizer.
Correct. But I get my eggs. I love fresh. There's nothing like a fresh egg. I can't stand store-bought eggs.
Oh, I imagine. Where's Woods fit on this? Psycho left. He couldn't stand the concept of fresh eggs. He left.
Well, clearly his version of chickens is better than like your farm raised chickens. But so, gee, I got a question then. Would you eat like Theodore's chickens, like that version of chicken, or you just don't like chickens at all? Or because
No.
I know part of it's like how mass produced they are.
Oh yeah, I don't like the factory part, but no, I've had the opportunity to eat somebody's chicken that they raised. I still don't like chicken. I don't like it. It's gross.
I'm not raising meat chickens. I don't want to be slaughtering chickens. That's not my thing.
You eat them after they're done, though, no?
No, I raise chickens strictly for the eggs.
But what do you do when they're old?
Well, they die.
Oh, you don't eat them then? You just throw them or bury them or whatever?
You've got only have the first 4 months for a chicken. You got to slaughter it after 4 months. Otherwise, the chicken becomes too tough. So an older chicken, like I've had chickens 8 years, 9 years old. Okay, and you would never eat that. It'd be too tough. You could maybe make a stew out of the meat, but it'd be ugly. You know, six weeks is generally when you're going to slaughter a chicken. Between 6 and 8 weeks old, if you're doing meat chickens.
And then you can have enough, or you try to balance it so you're just eating the eggs, or you got enough that you make income from selling the eggs or trading them or whatever.
No, I eat the eggs and I give the eggs away to people, and sometimes there are homeless shelters and things like that that need to do food for their stuff, and I donate my eggs. We had almost 30 chickens in my house in Reno, and so we donated eggs all the time to different groups that needed food. They got fresh eggs.
Damn.
Yeah, that's a lot of eggs per day.
Oh God! Well, in the winter they don't lay an egg every day because there's not enough sunlight, so they don't absorb enough vitamin D to create an egg. So in the winter you get a chicken. Sometimes a chicken will lay an egg like every 3 days, whereas in the summer it's every day you're getting an egg.
A chicken lays an egg or lays a different egg every single day?
Yes.
Every single chicken?
Every single chicken in the summer when there's a lot of sunlight.
So in the summer you were getting 30 eggs a day?
Oh yeah.
I like eggs. I can't eat that many eggs.
Yeah, I figured it was like every couple of days a chicken laid an egg. I didn't think it was every single day. That's crazy.
No. So part of the program we had was if you brought an egg crate, that you put eggs in, okay, we would fill it for you and you could take the eggs with you. So people came and they picked the eggs out of the coop and whatnot and everything, and we taught them how to do things, and they would bring a little egg container from the store, What is that called? The little styrofoam things that you
Carton?
Yeah, egg carton. Because egg cartons, if you have to buy them to give them away, they're expensive.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of friends that do that. I've had teacher friends that bring in eggs all the time.
Right.
Because they have just exactly what you're talking about. And they live in the city, but they just move the little cart thing all around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But they only have like 4 or 5 chickens. They don't have like 30 or anything.
No,
Still,
right?
that'd be 4 or 5 eggs a day. That's a lot of eggs.
Yeah. I was perfectly happy to eat their eggs. They're way better than anything you can buy in the store. I'll give you that.
Yep.
Although it's always shocking to a lot of people on the different colors that are possible from the same chicken.
Well, each breed of chicken lays a different color egg.
Yeah, but even within that hue, they're a little different.
Yeah, we had one chicken that laid like a purple egg. It was a big to do. I didn't think so. I like chickens that lay the white eggs, and the reason being is, you know what candling an egg is? Okay,
No.
you take a. They used to do it with a candle, but you can take a bright light, you shine it through the shell of the egg, and you can tell the stage of development of the chicken.
You like hold it up to light, and you can
Yeah.
see if there's an embryo in there or not.
Correct. Especially because I love having a rooster. I love hearing the rooster crow in the morning. Okay, so if you're going to have some chickens hatch to repopulate your chickens, you want to know which ones are actually fertile. And if you have the brown eggs or all that and everything, you can't see through the damn egg to see if there's a chicken growing in there. But I like the white eggs.
So one time we were making something, and my mom cracked an egg, and I just happened to be looking at her, and it had a dead chicken in there. It's gross.
Yep.
That was at a regular store. That was like in a city. That wasn't like some weird farm situation. Just
I've had that happen to me before.
I only had ever happen to have it once my whole life.
They left the chicken in a warm.
Scared the shit out of me.
The egg in a warm place somewhere. If you take it to the eggs out daily, and put them in a cool place, like on a countertop in your kitchen, then they'll never grow a chicken inside. You'll never have a problem. But you leave them in the coop in a warm place, they'll fertilize. They'll start growing a chicken.
So is this edition of the Daily Gun Show now the chicken and the egg?
Gary didn't even show up for this one, so we pull fake chicken news.
No, the whole thing is that
None of this has been vetted by an actual chicken. So
to me, part of gun channels and gun ownership is about self-sufficiency. Okay, protection, and so the chickens equal into the self-sufficiency thing of having protein readily available, without needing anybody else.
yeah, and as far as critters go, they're pretty decent. I mean, you can just kind of have them around. They don't. They're just pretty self-sufficient. You got to throw corn at them once in a while, don't you?
Every once in a while, you give them a snack. It's a treat. But if you have what they call a chicken tractor, which is, plowing up the ground for you, and they fertilize the ground and they eat everything and all the stuff out of it, they actually make it really nice garden area for you to grow any kind of vegetable that you want. So nicely tilled and fertilized as you move the garden tractor, the chicken tractor down the, you move it about 3 feet a day. And
All them eggshells turn into good compost too. Throw them in your compost.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So, unknown user was saying about this Mose and the Gone. So I'm changing the subject to this Mose and the Gone video. It's only a minute long.
Quick video from Shot Talk 2019. Didn't do a lot of video reviews or anything, but this was a cool little item. It's basically a cricket bolt action and 22 round rifle, and then in a wooden stock that has the look of a Mose and the Gone. I really think this is neat. I think there's only going to be a limited number of these, but I'm hoping that this is an indication that other people will do something like this, because I think there's some real potential here for some really neat replicas and collectors guns in this scaled down design. So let us know what you think in the comments. We want to thank the people over on Patreon and others that helped us get.
So I think that's a neat idea, but I think it's going to cost like $400 or something, $600, something crazy. I think you could make it. Freaking cost $100, and all you got to do is.
What caliber is that?
Just 22.
That's what that looked like. I didn't know, so I didn't want to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say. This is just a little, probably a 410 shotgun or something. This is probably 2-inch grid, so this isn't very long. It's only probably 26 inches long altogether.
It's a neat idea, but yeah, like the 400 or whatever, $600 at that point, you might as well just buy a Mosin.
Yeah, like all up. Well, no, I mean it's, but I don't know. It just seems kind of crude for the. They put some effort into it, but they didn't go all out.
Did they? I know Obama had stopped guns coming into the country from other countries or something, surplus. And I heard that I don't forget the name of the damn president we have now. I heard he allowed it back in. Are they allowing the Muslim guns and everything to come in from the different countries now? The surplus guns?
No, that's just the all that Trump let in is the stuff from South Korea, which was Garand's and 1911s, I think, or maybe carbines, but it wasn't anything. It didn't have anything to do with the Chinese ban on imports, but that's a Chinese ban from Bush, I think.
Right. Now, the Garands that are coming in, are any of them any decent? Are they decently priced, or they're trying to charge a fortune for them now?
I don't know. That's a whole nother story. That they're going to the CMP, so they're going to charge whatever their rates are, however they determine their rates or whatever.
Right. I didn't know if it was filtering down to gun stores or not.
No, they're coming into the CMP, so it's through the normal CMP procedures and their normal, I guess, valuation or whatever. They sell them determined by what condition they're in. Anyway, the quick video is like a minute, but I just thought that thing was neat. It was one of the new things at SHOT Show, I guess.
I think so. It was a beautiful firearm. That was a very nice video.
What other guns do you think they could make a mini version of?
I would think we need to make a little 1903 out of a cricket.
That's a great idea.
Make a little fake mag or make like a little Enfield out of it. It's really just taking a piece of wood that's 26 inches long and carving a stock that looks right.
Yeah. Wouldn't be that hard.
Some of the metal little attachments or whatever, you just make those.
Yeah.
That'd be fun, I think.
Testing.
Was that our gun shop of the day?
I guess on SHOT Show. I'll get back on a schedule here as soon as I can schedule out the shows again. And we'll start having more consistent new gun shops every day.
Now, was that part of your gun tour?
Well, that was at SHOT Show a couple weeks ago.
Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted somebody.
I'm on users saying I want to scale down M14 and 22. So that'd be a neat thing. They've already done like little 1911s and 380 where they just scale down a 1911. I think those are super cool because they have all the same little parts and stuff. I'm sure they'd sell. I mean, they sell those little tiny ones that, the Russian little tiny miniatures.
Is it okay that the little teeny 1911s are in 380 because Browning made the 380?
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's cool, and they look right. They're when they scale down the gun, it's the right scale to the 380. It looks cool.
Now, in relevance to going out and doing your daily shooting, what has the weather been like where you guys are? Today we've had snow, we've had rain, and we've had hail, and it's raining again now. I mean, we've had the whole gamut. There's no going out shooting today.
It's been kind of cool out here. Cold for us.
I mentioned it earlier. We have had more snow this last week than we've had since 1923.
That makes it a bummer to go to the range.
Yeah, I didn't even go to work. I didn't go anywhere. It was nice just hanging out in my house, but it does kind of bring up that thing we were talking about earlier. That would have been a fun thing to do when you're hanging out in the house.
Yeah.
Nancy's saying a mini PKM in 22. That'd be great. think it's saying that they're cost so much because they're only making 2,000 of them, but you know, at least they're doing it. I'm not going to complain. We'll see how many of them get sold. You think they'll sell 2,000 of them right away?
I do. There's enough people that love that rifle, that love the Mosin, that would love to have one.
Get one for their kid.
Yeah, that kind of thing. I mean, it's just a gun to play around with, really. Anyway, you know. And we've all got guns that don't have a real practical purpose. We just like them.
All right. What was that?
I'm glad to hear all is well with everybody. I haven't been here for the last month or so.
Well, I've let to jump over to gun channels and see if anybody's got a chat going. Doesn't look like there is one going yet. I don't see Taters on or Zorro, so we'll see if anybody starts a chat. Otherwise, though, I think we'll end this one. We're going for 90 minutes or so. Clover had a good one earlier talking about the YouTube logarithms, and I think there was some other chats. People didn't post them on gun channels, though. And then tomorrow is Friday, so yes, Right of the People will be on first. Then Gizzard does Foul Territory, then we'll be on. I'm not sure if anybody else is doing a Friday show, but there's definitely room in the schedule if you're interested in doing a show. Pick up the camera and grab a computer or whatever and do a show. I'm sure people will join in. Otherwise, thanks Woods and Ted for jumping in, and thanks to Cycly that said he lost his internet there. And we'll be back tomorrow.